You know what fear is? Now everybody kind of knows what fear is. When we get scared of something, and it could be anything. Uh, for some people, it might be scared of the dark. Other people might be scared of heights. Fear is a very interesting platform to live on. People that suffer from anxiety suffer from fear. I know because I've suffered with anxiety for more than 20 years now, and it's rough, man. It's real rough. I mean, it's weird to sit here and say, hey, look, you know, how can you have anxiety? You have all these psychology degrees and whatnot. Uh, isn't anxiety a psychological issue? Absolutely. And if I was talking to you right now, face to face, and you said to me, "Hey, look, I get anxious when I go into a speaking arrangement. Okay, when I have to give a speech, I get anxious. I could give you a dozen different ways to help you with your anxiety. Anxiety is one of those things that comes out of the blue. I could be driving my car down the street and suddenly I am anxious beyond belief. I am in a neighborhood I don't know. I see something that puts me off. Somebody running out into traffic trying to get across the street. And those things set off that little small, fine, tightrope reality that I like to walk in when I don't feel anxious. And all of a sudden I feel anxious out of the blue. And sometimes the anxiety lasts for mere seconds. Other times I'll feel anxious until I get home. I was living in Boston, and I tell the story the same way because the story to me is humorous. It's funny because it didn't start off negative. I had gone to the doctor for an annual health checkup. I was 24, 25 years old, something like that. And my doctor said, "Hey, man, you need to lose some weight. You're gaining too much weight. Figure out something." And, the doctor's like, "The best thing you can do is go for walks." And so I decided to go walk in this nice neighborhood. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I obviously knew the neighborhood. I lived there for a couple of years. No stranger danger type of stuff. So I go out one day. It's fall time when I go out, and I just start going for a walk. I'll go walk around the block. It's not really a big deal. And I think I'm on trip one or two, walking around the block, and I'd come around the backside of our block, and I'm walking toward my apartment. And the street's all lined with trees. And I remember looking up at the trees, and the leaves were changing colors. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was having a heart attack. It was weird. And so we called the ambulance. The ambulance came, took me to the hospital. And they're running all these tests. They're making sure I'm not having a heart attack. And they're running all these tests. Can't find a damn thing wrong with me. Now, at the hospital, I'm feeling better, but I don't feel better. No, this had never happened to me before, so I'm having a panic attack inside of a panic attack. It was wild. And this young doctor, and when I say young, he was Dookie Howser, MD young, and I just dated myself with that, but this kid was 30 max. And he walks up to me, and he's not put off, but he's like, "You've had an anxiety attack." What's that? And here's a list of counselors, therapists. I'm going to call somebody on this list and go talk to them. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I inevitably go see a sports psychologist. And, she's young as well. And I'm still convinced to this day that she made me worse than what I was. I go see her, and it was like the second or third session. I was seeing her once a week for, I don't know, I think it was like 40 minutes or something like that. And she says to me, she's like, you don't seem to have anxiety like most people do. Well, what do you mean? What do most people do when they have anxiety attacks? And she lists off these things, okay? And these things are legit. It's, you'll get sweaty, you'll get racing thoughts, you'll feel like you're having a heart attack, it'll become hard to breathe. None of these things had happened other than maybe the racing thoughts and that feeling of my heart was going to explode. But what she did was light a fuse inside of a sick mind. And suddenly, my anxiety attack started taking on the things that she was talking to me about. And within a couple of months, I didn't leave my house at all. I locked myself in. I locked myself in my apartment. I wouldn't even go out to go check my mail. And the internet was becoming a thing. And you could shop online. There was no reason whatsoever for me to leave my house. I could buy my groceries online. I could work online, which I did. I ended up working online. I was making websites. There was nothing I needed to do outside of the four walls of my house. Even paying my rent, I could do through an electronic transfer from my bank to the property management company that looked after the apartment complex I lived in. And so I was inevitably enabled by the world around me. And this is 20 some odd years ago. 2 years in. And 2 years in, I've become crazy manic about everything. I, like many other people that suffer from anxiety, my anxiety has turned into agoraphobia, which, I'm afraid of the great outdoors, leaving my home. And that being afraid to leave my home became a lasting thing that sticks to me to this day. Yes, I leave my home now. It's some days are easier than others. That's the truth. But about 2 years in, I am washing my hands. And suddenly, washing my hands, there's a pattern. And it was the number 5. Don't know. It was the number I picked subconsciously. Had to wash my hands 5 times, check a knob 5 times, turn a light off 5 times, check a lock 5 times. Checking the gas stove was a nightmare 5 times. And it had to be in this very specific order. If while washing my hands, I pulled my hands back away from the sink and any water dripped off my hands, I had to go through the process again. There were some days that I couldn't get out of the bathroom for 20 or 30 minutes just because I had to wash my hands perfectly. And no matter how much I fought this, no matter how much I said, man, knock it off, I was convinced that if I didn't do things a certain way, I'd get another one of these anxiety attacks. I'd have something bad happen. And that bad happening would be an anxiety attack. I knew something needed to change. I knew deep down something needed to change. And I'd gotten my hands on this really nice camera. And I was going to hide behind the camera to help me go out. And they say, fake it till you make it. And it worked a little bit. It worked a little bit. I'd go out of the house with my camera, and I could take all these pictures and whatnot. And I enjoy photography a lot. And it's why I own so many cameras now, because I can still hide behind the camera. I can still grab one and take some shots, or use something like this and take video. One day, the beginning of October, I woke up and realized I needed to change. I needed to change something. Something had to give. And I packed a bag and I ran. I remember my girlfriend at the time looking at me and crying, saying, "What are you doing?" And I looked at her and said, "If I don't leave, if I don't go, I'm going to die. Because that's the truth. I'm going to die. I'm going to end up slitting my wrist, man. I'm losing myself inside myself." 20 some odd years later, here I am. And it's not fear like I'm afraid of clowns crap. I don't remember the last time I crossed a street on foot. As cars whiz past me, I get this urge to step out in the traffic. I'm not going to, or I presume I'm not going to, but there's enough fear there that I don't want to figure it out and see if I will. I walk around in big open spaces outside and I get panicky, like something's going to suck me up into the sky. It's hard to live like that. It's hard to be my age and live like that and function correctly. It's very hard. But that's my story of anxiety. That's how I live. Some days suck.